The email hit my inbox at 2:37 a.m. Subject line screaming, "Urgent, call me now." My phone buzzed relentlessly on the nightstand, and I knew before even looking. It was Julian Voss, my boss, the tech mogul whose name lit up Silicon Valley like a supernova. By 3 a.m., I was in his penthouse, staring at a headline that could torch his empire. Tech Titan's secret affair exposed? I'm Ethan Caldwell, 27, a guy who grew up in a sleepy Ohio town, where dreams were as small as the population. I'd clawed my way to San Francisco, landing a job as Julian's assistant, a role that meant juggling his schedule, his coffee, and apparently his crises. Julian, 29, was everything I wasn't: magnetic, polished, with dark eyes that could charm a room or burn through your defenses. He built Nexus Tech from a dorm room idea into a billion-dollar company. But now, a blurry paparazzi photo of him with an unidentified man at a gala was threatening to unravel it all. "Ethan, I need you to do something insane," Julian said, pacing his sleek living room, the city skyline glittering through floor-to-ceiling windows. His voice was steady, but his hands betrayed him, trembling as he poured a second whiskey. "The board's freaking out. Investors are spooked. They think I'm hiding a boyfriend, and it's bad optics for the IPO." I blinked, still half asleep. "So clarify it. Say it's a misunderstanding." "It's not that simple." He stopped pacing, his gaze locking onto mine. "The guy in the photo? It was a one-time thing. A mistake. But the press is digging, and if they find out I'm not straight, it'll be a circus. I need a controlled narrative." My stomach twisted. I'd known Julian for 2 years, managed every detail of his life, but he'd never hinted at his personal side. "Not like this. What are you asking me to do?" He exhaled, the sound heavy with desperation. "Be my boyfriend. Fake it. Just until the IPO's done. We'll control the story, give them something clean, and shut down the rumors." I laughed, thinking it was a joke. But his face, taut, serious, told me otherwise. My heart thudded. Me, a nobody from Ohio, pretending to be the partner of Julian Voss. It was absurd. Yet, as I stood there, the weight of his trust, his vulnerability, hit me like a freight train. I nodded before I could overthink it. The next week was a blur. We crafted a backstory. We'd been dating quietly for 6 months, keeping it low-key because of Julian's public profile. I memorized his favorite coffee order, black, no sugar, his gym routine, 5 a.m., brutal, and the way he tilted his head when he was nervous. We staged photos, dinners at upscale restaurants, walks along the Embarcadero, each moment choreographed for the cameras. But the lines blurred fast. His hand lingered on mine during a staged coffee date, and my pulse raced in a way that wasn't fake. The press ate it up. Tech mogul's charming new romance replaced the scandal headlines. But not everyone was convinced. A blogger named Riley Kane, 25, non-binary and relentless, smelled a rat. Their posts on X dissected our every move. "Why does Ethan look so stiff in these pics?" Julian's smile screams PR stunt. Riley's followers grew, and their digging got closer to the truth, that Julian's mistake at the gala was more than a one-off, and I was just a shield. One night, at a charity event in Pacific Heights, Riley cornered me. Their sharp green eyes cut through the crowd, their undercut and leather jacket a stark contrast to the gala's glitz. "Ethan, right?" they said, voice low. "You're either the luckiest guy in San Francisco or the biggest pawn. Which is it?" I froze, my tie suddenly too tight. "I don't know what you're talking about." They smirked. "Keep playing house, but I'll find out what's real." They slipped away, leaving me rattled. Julian found me minutes later, his hand brushing my arm. "You okay?" he asked, his voice softer than usual. For a second, I forgot the cameras, the lies. I wanted to tell him everything. About Riley, about the panic clawing at me, about how his touch made me question what I was feeling. Instead, I nodded. "Yeah, Just a lot. He studied me, his expression unreadable. You don't have to do this, Ethan. I can find another way. But I couldn't back out. Not when he looked at me like I was more than just his assistant. Not when I was starting to want this to be real. The charade grew heavier. Julian and I spent every waking hour together, and the act bled into something else. Late nights in his office turned into conversations about his childhood in Seattle, his fear of failing his team, his dreams beyond Nexus Tech. I told him about Ohio, about the dad who never understood me, about the loneliness I'd carried to San Francisco. He listened, really listened, and it felt like we were building something true amid the lies. But Riley was relentless. Their posts gained traction, and whispers about Julian's past hookup surfaced. One night, a grainy photo of Julian with another man. This one from years ago, hit X, captioned, "How many boyfriends does Voss have?" The board called an emergency meeting. Julian's cool exterior cracked. He snapped at his team, his voice raw with frustration. After the meeting, we sat in his car, parked in an empty lot overlooking the Bay Bridge. "I'm dragging you into my mess," he said, his hands gripping the steering wheel. "You don't deserve this." I wanted to say it didn't matter, that I'd choose this mess over anything else. Instead, I reached for his hand. "I'm here, Julian. I'm not going anywhere." He turned to me, his eyes searching mine. Then, slowly, he leaned in. The kiss was tentative, real, nothing like the staged ones for the cameras. My heart pounded, and for a moment, the world was just us. No scandal, no lies, just the warmth of his lips and the truth we hadn't dared name. But the moment shattered. My phone buzzed with a notification. Riley had posted again, this time with a leaked email from Julian's account, hinting at a cover-up. The words "fake boyfriend" stared back at me, and my stomach dropped. Someone inside Nexus Tech was feeding Riley information. The lie was unraveling, and it was going to take us both down. The next morning, Julian's office was a war zone. His PR team scrambled to contain the leak, but the damage was done. X was ablaze with speculation, and Riley's followers were relentless. Voss fraud trended, and investors started pulling back. Julian barely looked at me, his focus on damage control, but I felt the distance growing. I tracked down Riley at a coffee shop in the Mission District. They sat in a corner, typing furiously on their laptop, their earbuds blasting music. "You're destroying him," I said, sliding into the seat across from them. Riley didn't flinch. "I'm exposing the truth. Julian's built his empire on image, but people deserve to know who he really is. He's not a fraud," I said, my voice shaking. "He's complicated. Human. You're tearing him apart for clicks." Riley leaned forward, their expression softening. "I'm not the enemy, Ethan. I'm queer too. I get it. Hiding who you are to survive. But lying to the world? That's not freedom. If you care about him, help him be honest." Their words hit hard. I'd been so caught up in protecting Julian, in playing the role, that I hadn't asked what he wanted. Not really. When I got back to his penthouse, he was alone, staring at the city below. "I saw Riley," I said. "They're not stopping." Julian's shoulders sagged. I should have known this wouldn't work. I thought I could control it, but I'm just scared. His voice broke, and I saw the man behind the mogul, vulnerable, terrified of losing everything. "Then stop hiding," I said, stepping closer. "Tell the truth. Not for Riley, not for the press, but for you." He looked at me, his eyes raw. "What if I lose everything?" "You won't lose me," I said, and I meant it. The press conference was set for the next day. Julian decided to come clean. No more fake boyfriends, no more lies. He'd tell the world he was queer, that the gala photo was real, and that he was done hiding. I stood backstage, my heart in my throat, as he stepped up to the podium. The room was packed, reporters, investors, Riley in the back, watching with a mix of skepticism and hope. I've spent years building Nexus Tech, Julian began, his voice steady but laced with emotion. But I've spent even longer hiding who I am. I'm queer. I've always been. And I'm done letting fear dictate my life. The room erupted. Questions, flashes, chaos. But Julian stood tall, his eyes finding mine in the crowd. I smiled, proud, terrified, and completely in love. Later, in his penthouse, we sat on the couch, the city quiet outside. I don't know what happens now, he said, his hand finding mine. The IPO might tank. The board might fire me. Doesn't matter, I said. You're free. He kissed me then, slow and certain, no cameras, no pretense. It wasn't the end of the chaos. Riley's post still circulated, and the fallout was just beginning. But it was the start of something real. For Julian, it was freedom. For me, it was the moment I realized I'd been more than his assistant all along.